Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. We'll start off with the whole Molly, Ava, and Cody scene from Friday. So yeah, Molly just walks on in and sees Cody and Ava looking like they're about to get it on, and she's just like, "Yeah, I don't know what I walked in on, but yeah, I don't need to be a part of any of this." And so as she's leaving, Cody starts trying to put back on his clothes and everything like that. He's pretty much like, "Oh, it's not what it looks like." Really? You- You're gonna give her the classic line of pretty much like, "It's not what it looks like," bro. It looks like half your goddamn clothes is off. Like, what are you talking about? Now, for some odd reason, I don't understand how when the words came out of his mouth, I don't understand how he thought that that was just going to be okay. He pretty much just spills everything. He's like, "Hey, listen, Ava doesn't mean anything to me." Um, I was like, "Wow, okay." I mean, listen, Ava's not exactly my biggest fan or whatever, but damn. He was like, "Oh, I was paid to sit there and be with her, or whatever." And Ava's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. Just let's just make this very clear. I did not pay that man." Because she's all like, "Oh, you're a gigolo." It's like, and then Cody's like, "No, Christina is the one that paid me to break those two up or whatever." Um, Basically, Smith is saying, "Hey, listen, I was actually kind of doing this for you. You, you were sleeping with Ava, getting paid by Christina to do this for you." And she's like, "Listen, I know how you don't really like Ava hanging around your dad, so in a way, I'm kind of doing you a favor." Oh, okay, so she should thank you for pretty much being a man whore and doing her a favor. Okay, so Ava at this point is like, "You know what? Listen, I'm gonna deal with you later." I personally was like, "Bro, there was probably so many different ways you could have went about that than to throw Christina under the bus and what I guess try to save yourself so that's where you can still have a shot with Molly. Like that's what you came up with, bro? Really?" Listen, I get that Cody's not exactly the smartest person, but like, bro, like, really? So anyway, she makes a beeline to Alexis' place. Now Rick just walks on in. Christine, when Christina opens the door, it's like, "I'm here to see your mother." They get into it back and forth, right? They're, in a sense, they're both out of pocket for me. Her just saying, "Listen, me almost killing you was an accident, and this, that, and the third." I was like, "Bro," I'm like, "Sis, you cut somebody's brake lines, right? And you're sitting there saying, 'Oh, well, me almost killing you was an accident.'" Really? Because it wasn't even just her. It wasn't even just him. It was Liz. If that car, could have hit somebody else, and a whole family could have died. And the only thing you sit there and say is, "Well, I had this tragedy, I had that tragedy, I had da 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 da," so I just snapped. Like, I mean, I get it. She's not sitting there saying that, like, "Well, you gotta excuse me," but in a way, it's like you throw up these series of events, and then you're just like, "Well, it just happened." Like, no, girl, you could have literally killed someone. Like, "Oh, well, I guess I should sit there and show you some grace and some mercy." No, f that. And I particularly don't like, okay, on one hand, because he pretty much just kind of dumps, once again, how Christina's very selfish, the baby was never supposed to be hers, your mother is constantly sitting there cleaning up after your crimes, just the same shit that we've been hearing from him since jump. But particularly the fact that he is so harsh on his niece. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I get he doesn't like her in a sense, and we're gonna be honest. Christina is a very hard person to sit there and like on a good day, but I'm like, that's still your family by extension. And the fact that he talks to her in such this terrible, disgusting way is like, you would almost sit there and think that they're not connected at all. Anyway, they go back and forth. Ava gets there. Ava's like, Rick, this chick done played us against each other with the whole Cody thing, right? Then Rick drops a bombshell, basically saying that he cut her out of the extortion money, saying that he put the rest of the money in some bonds or whatever. That's not even going to be access to him for like over a month. And then when everything is done, the money's clean. He's going to be looking at like a lot of money, and she's going to be SOL. And so she's upset. She's like, "Oh, you betrayed me." And of course, Rick is like, "Yeah, well, you betrayed me too." He just, at the end of the day, it's like you both betrayed each other. Rick was just better at it. That's what it came down to. Y'all were both playing each other. He just beat you to the punch. And then at one point, Ava realizing that she's screwed, she's like, "Whoa, we can still work this out. It was me and you and everything like that." Rick is walking away. Ava picks up an object, a heavy object, and once again, bang! And he's on the floor. And I'm just like, girl, you know you belong in jail, right? Because I'm like, this is the second time that you show piss poor impulse control when you did the same thing to Nicholas. And I get it. With Nicholas, he sat there and basically said he was going to take Avery from her, and she snapped. But there was still a better way. There was legal options. There was so many different options than what she decided to do. But Ava being Ava decided, oh, I got no consequences towards my actions. F it. And now she did the exact same thing to Rick. What's even worse is, some people could even sit there and try to sympathize. Not me, but some people, because, listen, you brung up a little girl. That's not something that you sit there and do. Girl, this was money. The sad part, even with Nicholas, that I was sitting there writing my notes, I was like, listen, I get it. He sat there and threatened to take your girl, right? But if Nicholas would have been dead, the cops would have found out, you wouldn't have to worry about Nicholas taking your girl. Because the cops would have. Now, you did the exact same goddamn thing. So we don't know if Rick is unconscious or if he's dead, but whatever. Okay, so Lucas has to sit there and inform Mac and Felicia and Spinelli that she slipped into a coma. Maxie slipped into a coma. They can't really do anything for her, but he's recommending her to go to the best coma place to get the help that she needs, and they're really good as far as taking care of coma people. And I think he kind of said it without saying something about response or whatever. But the point is, General Hospital can't treat Maxie the way that this place can. And, Spinelli kind of has a bit of a crash out moment. And, Felicia sit there and calm him down. And, listen, with Spinelli, I get it. Max, he loves Maxie and everything like that. But these type of freakouts do happen. But I'm also just like, bro, listen, I get that you're upset. But if you're upset, can you imagine how Mac and Felicia are? And they don't need to be simply trying to regulate your emotions when they have their own emotions to sit there and deal with it. But long story short, Lucas convinces them to do it. Lulu calls Cody to come down to the hospital. Lulu and Maxie get ready to go down there. They go and they talk to Maxie to kind of give her a send off or whatever. So they're saying that they put their shit aside and, we're going to do right by you and this time the third. And part of me is like, the only reason why I actually put y'all shit aside is because this girl's in coma. Both of y'all couldn't sit there and back off the other. It took your friend nearly dying for y'all to sit there and do that. So part of me is like, seeing them work together, it's like you want to sit there and be like, oh well, it's really good. Y'all two are really working together in the face of tragedy. and that's great. But I mean, it took her being in a goddamn coma for both of y'all to get y'all shit together. So as far as I'm concerned, neither one of y'all is not getting any brownie points. Um, you know what else I would sit there and say? Ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. So, while I will give credit for a nice scene of James and Cody and Mac being in there, and James giving Maxie the badge that Nathan had when James broke his arm as like this, good luck token. But I feel like maybe this scene would have hit better if it was in the 90s. Because then I wouldn't have known the reason why Maxie was leaving. I wouldn't even have known that Maxie was leaving. Everything just would have came to me as a shock, and I would have just took it in as it happened, you know. And I feel like the scene would have hit a little more differently. Like even when Nathan died, the scene hit differently for me because I knew that the actor wanted to leave. So everything after that just fell flat to me, and hence why I say ignorance is bliss. Um, Drew. Oh Lord, Drew. I feel like and I say this every day, and I know I sound like you know, rinse and repeat like B&B, but like it just, it's like how low can this man sink, right? He'll still never sit there and sink as low as Luna did, but like he is sinking lower and lower every day. So he meets up with Alexis, and they talk about Scout and doing what's best for Scout, right? And this conversation seemed like it's promising a little bit because it's like, okay, maybe he's kind of gonna put his daughter first. He's gonna be the Billy Miller version of Drew before he just went off the deep end. And then as they're talking about Scout, processor comes. Says, Alexis, you've been served. She takes one look at that paper and is like, what the f-? And she's like, Drew, you filed a restraining order against me? Drew's like, not only did I did you, but I did you, Molly, Christina, Danny, and even Rocco. He goes after Danny Smith is saying, listen, he's a thug just like Jason in training. He brings up, because at this point, Alexa's like, I'm going to sit there and fight you. And Drew sits there and talks about like you're still kind of a drunk or whatever, or you're like a recovering alcoholic or something like that with your law license. When you just getting back your law license like over a year, it's like no judge is going to side with you, right? So he brings up her drinking and everything like that, and I mean he's just like, oh, I'm protecting Scout from all of y'all. I mean, the thing is, it's like even when he gave the restraining order, and as mad as Alexis was, she still sat there and tried to reason with him. She still sat there and tried to reason with him, trying to find some sort of goodness with him. Listen, I get you don't like the family or whatever, and even Alexis, like, listen, Sam would have wanted the kids together. That's what her wishes was. Um, but at this point, Drew just cares about what Drew wants. And, Alexis threatens his life in front of everybody. Everybody in the dining area, including Martin and Laura. Of course, Martin and Laura was not there talking about, in a sense, I do love how Marty was not there trying to come across as like, oh, I finally gained a conscience and, I decided not to work for Drew. It's like, bro, you got fired from Drew. Let's not sit there and try to act like you really took the. He did in a sense. He did. Well, actually, he did. Because let's just be honest. If Drew had the power to sit there and stop the investigation from going forward, Martin would have still sat there and lied. So this whole, you know, well, I realized I couldn't work for Drew and da 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 da. It's just in bullshit. That's what that is. Point effing blank. That was a bullshit statement. Um, well, I realized there's certain things I can't sit there and do for money. Yeah, my ass. Um, but yeah, at that point when they heard it, it was like, yeah, I didn't hear anything. So I don't know. People are sitting there talking about there's gonna be a who's done it with Drew, and we'll see. We will see. Um, now I feel like that's about it. I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else that wound up happening. Hold on. Let me see something. Oh, and Molly even came in there to sit there and try to stop Alexis from like taking it too far and threatening and everything like that. And when Alexis left, you know, I guess Molly tried. Molly just was just pissed off at this point. And Drew didn't even sit there and try to argue with Molly. Drew was like, listen, I have to sit there and deal with this. And he just walks off. So, wow. I got nothing else to say. Now, of course, if I miss anything, write in the comment section below. Come to the live stream tonight. I'll be sitting there talking about this show, as well as all the other ones. And I'll see you in the next video.